Death toll is expected to go up as more search and rescue missions are done in flood-ravaged Kentucky. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Macko. A man accused of aiming a rifle at neighbors and then at officers, leading to a standoff, is behind bars tonight. 65-year-old John Tucker faces 2 charges of wanton endangerment. The city of Huntington is welcoming 5 new firefighter candidates. They were sworn in this morning at Huntington City Hall. Now, that helicopter was based here at the Logan County Airport, and I can tell you that National Transportation Safety Board investigators are here. They're at the crash site right now, which was along Route 17, the Blair Mountain Highway. They are here trying to figure out what caused this. And of course, the community here is devastated. We don't know the names or the hometowns yet of the victims, but we can tell you that 6 people were killed in that helicopter. Charleston City Council tonight approved nearly $6 million for paving and sidewalk construction. The city says this is the largest investment in more than 20 years. Now, the construction will include asphalt and concrete street paving and the construction of sidewalk ramps that comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act requirements. I said we were 19 and we fell way behind because this here unit's 82 and there's like 170 units in this parade. So it's great to see all the people out. The weather is so nice. I mean, it's mild. I know in years past it's been really hot. It's been really great today. He just worked the basketball tournament last week. In fact, he's been a huge part of Charleston high school and college basketball games for more than 20 years. Yeah, very emotional, patriotic wreath-laying ceremony. They talked about how there were 472 Medal of Honor recipients from World War II. Of course, Herschel Woody Williams, the last one. And we are helping Habitat for Humanity build a house here. It's part of Nexstar's Founders Day of Caring. All the Nexstar stations across the country are volunteering their time to help community causes. It's such a great event. You definitely got to thank those first responders, too, for all that they've been doing today with the rescues and everything. Now, the rain does continue to fall, and for that, we're going to go to Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins. Spencer. The death toll is expected to go up as more search and rescue missions are done in flood-ravaged Kentucky. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Macko. It was certainly hot today, and Spencer, I believe we're going to get hotter in the next couple of days, right?
Yeah, we do have some heat advisory.
County schools are pushing back their first day of school as people continue to clean up the flood damage. The Floyd County School District, serving more than 5,000 students, instead of returning to the classroom on Monday, they're going to go back on the 24th. Superintendent Anna Shepard says the board made the decision because many of their staff members, students, and families have been impacted. Some even lost their homes and cars. She says their priority right now is helping the community recover by using their schools to provide meals and vaccines. The superintendent says the district is providing meals, showers, laundry services, and more at several schools. Well, the flooding damaged homes and cars and devastated entire communities.
13 News reporter Lane Boss.
Well, for up-to-date information on the relief efforts and how you can help out, we're just constantly updating our website as well as our 13 News app. It's free on Google Play and in the Apple App Store. If you know about a group that's donating supplies, let us know. Send us an email to news@WOWKTV.com. Well, the flooding in Floyd County is also affecting the court system there. This includes the arraignment for the man accused of killing 3 officers and a canine in June. Commonwealth Attorney Brent Turner says Lance Storrs was originally supposed to have his arraignment on Monday. But since the flooding affected many who work in the courthouse, officials closed the doors, pushing back Storrs' court appearance. His new court date hasn't been set yet. When it's rescheduled, Turner says he believes the judge will have Storrs appear through Zoom video conference. A woman in charge of teaching our most vulnerable students will now spend years in jail for abusing them. The list of Nancy Boggs' crimes is long and shocking, from hitting a student with a cabinet door to pulling a student by the hair, even jerking a chair out from under a student. She was originally charged with 23 counts of battery and 1 count of verbal abuse of a non-communicative child. Boggs did plead guilty in May to 10 counts, and today she was sentenced to the maximum sentence, 1 year for each count of battery. Now, before she was sentenced to 10 years, they showed videos in court of Boggs abusing her students. Parents like Liz Foley and Mark Pressman tried to hold back tears as they watched their own children being abused. Coming up, it's a family tradition on the basketball court. Why this school principal finds so much joy working high school and college games. Neighborhoods throughout Charleston are joining forces with communities nationwide for an event meant to prevent crime.
The National Night Out event promotes strong police-community partnership. If you follow basketball in the Charleston area, you've probably seen Matt shot courtside.
He just worked the basketball tournament last week. In fact, he's been a huge part of Charleston high school and college basketball games for more than 20 years.
I started going to games with my grandpa when I was probably 9 or 10 years old.
And Matt Schock has been courtside at some of the best basketball games in Charleston ever since. This is him last week at the basketball tournament in Charleston. Schock has run the clock or scoreboard at thousands of basketball games, including the state high school basketball tournaments, for more than 20 years.
I've seen some great games at the Civic Center when the Mountaineers beat Florida, all the West Virginia Marshall games over the last 20 years when they play there, high school state championship games.
His love for basketball came from his grandfather, Kenny Schock. Kenny had a heart attack and died during the 2002 girls high school state basketball tournament in Charleston. Matt says his grandfather died doing what he loved.
He did it for, 30, 40 years. So I just kind of feel obligated, to keep doing it for him.
Schock also runs the clock at University of Charleston men's and women's basketball games. Dr. Bren Stevens is vice president and director of athletics at UC and has known Schock for 20 years.
He is a gem, first of all, and I would say, he's so important to us because he gets all of our table workers.
Schock graduated from the University of Charleston, so every game is a homecoming of sorts. Schock also has a pretty important day job. He's the principal here at Winfield Middle School. He's going into his 6th year. As you can imagine, on school days where there's UC games at night, things get very busy for him.
So we get out of school around 3:30 here. By the time take care of things and get up, you go home, take care of what you need to at home and get up the road. So it's a non-stop job whenever you have games at night.
Dr. Stevens says Schock makes her job easier and says the officials have great respect for him.
He enjoys working the games. He loves our athletes and coaches, so it's a win-win for both of us.
It's just a good atmosphere and something I enjoy doing.
And Schock says he's actually watched kids play games over the years that have now become coaches. Dr. Stevens says Schock has a contract for life at UC for as long as he wants to keep doing the games.
Hey, Rob, thanks for introducing us to Matt. He's got a big job.
Stay cool during the peak heating of the day. Heat illness is not a joke.
That's a good suggestion, though.
And of course, we've got the sports starting up again and everything. So
field turf on a day like tomorrow, it'll reach 150, 160 easily.
But Cassidy's having so much fun there, isn't she?
She is in her element. She texted me today.
Yeah, a lot of resources on our website there, also our 13 News app. It's going to be a slow drive home tonight for people who use a main artery in downtown Charleston. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Macko. But just within the past 10 minutes, we've learned that the Attorney General is asking the state Supreme Court for a stay of the laws that a judge ruled Monday could not be enforced at this time. Those laws are nearly 200 years old. Now, we've got team coverage for you tonight. 13 News chief political reporter Mark Curtis has the latest on a special session regarding those laws. A man accused of aiming a rifle at neighbors and then at officers, leading to a standoff, is behind bars tonight. 65-year-old John Tucker faces 2 charges of wanton endangerment. According to the criminal complaint, he refused to come out of the home when state troopers tried to talk to him. Now, this was the scene last night along Sharp Street in Van in Boone County. At one point, investigators say Tucker aimed his gun toward the troopers. 2 state troopers fired multiple shots into the home. No one was hurt. The standoff ended after a few hours when Tucker surrendered. This man was in court this morning accused of the sexual assault of a 5-year-old girl. Cody Taylor is facing charges in connection to the crime. The Scioto County Sheriff says it happened in Portsmouth. Taylor is 18 years old and is being held on a $100,000 bond.
Well, after yesterday's storms, things seem pretty quiet and comfortable out there for your Tuesday.
A little bit of rain this morning I had, but what can we expect over the next few days, Spencer?
Yeah, a little bit of rain this morning.
And that's according to a county commissioner. 13 News reporter Rachel Pellegrino joins us now live at the PSD headquarters near Shillian with some late-breaking details. Rachel. And we're checking out live traffic right now. I-64, the Charleston split. Of course, they're dealing with that overturned tractor trailer, that chemical spill now that you see on the right side of your screen. That's not going to be cleaned up for several hours. You're watching 13 News at 5. 13 News reporter Nikki Walters has more on what happened and how the Boone County Commission is planning to get the program back on track. One part of our region is seeing an increase in the number of people diagnosed with COVID-19. 13 News reporter Anna King explains the trend that health leaders are noticing about the spike in cases. There will be vaccination clinics at the Lawrence County Health Department this week. That is happening from 1 to 4, that's tomorrow, as well as Friday from 9 a.m. until noon.
I have friends right now who are sitting in 113 in Oklahoma as we speak. So come on, 95 versus 113. I'll take 95 every day.
And a frigid 89 degrees on Thursday.
That's the cold front.
Wow,
so
that's the
brace
cold front.
yourselves. Winter's coming.
Get used to it, folks. All right, Spencer's back. It's going to get really hot.
Yeah, I think in some mid 90s for this weekend. Yeah, 3.
3.
There you go.
Oh, all right. Well,
We'll do that easy.
Easily. Thanks so much for watching.
a unique building in West Virginia honors the African Americans who served in World War I, a conflict that was fought more than 30 years before the armed forces were integrated.
I traveled to the World War I Museum in Kimball, West Virginia, where black service members are honored for their major contributions, even though they were unfairly limited because of their race. The Kimball War Memorial, located in the southern coalfields of McDowell County, West Virginia.
Listen, you'd be surprised at the number of people that go up and down 52 and have no idea what this building is or why it's even here.
It's here to honor the African Americans who served in World War I. Inside, a museum with pictures and exhibits showing faces from long ago. The building was dedicated back in 1928.
It's the first building of such as this built in this country, not just in West Virginia, in this country for African Americans from World War I.
Dr. Howard Wade served in the Pacific with the Marine Corps in World War II. The retired college professor grew up about 3 miles from here and used to pass the memorial on his way to school. After the war, his American Legion post held meetings here.
We, as a race, have served our country from the beginning. And in World War I, there were a great many African Americans that served in that war.
But this building is so much more than a war memorial. Over the years, it's become an important cornerstone to the African American community in Kimball and McDowell County.
This kitchen can be rented out.
Clara Thompson has been the memorial's administrator for 15 years.
We've had quite a few activities here.
A lot of history.
A lot of history, believe it, a lot of history here.
She says over the years, the building was used for NAACP meetings, weddings, concerts, proms, debutante balls, even a temporary school. The building also has a tragic history. An arsonist set fire to it in 1991. A lot of the original memorabilia was destroyed or lost, and it sat vacant for many years.
He had made arrangements.
100-year-old World War II veteran Dr. E. Ray Williams was one of the men who fought to restore the building.
And at one point, I was president of NAACP in the county, so that tied right into that building.
Working with the late Senator Robert C. Byrd, they secured funding for the restoration, and the building reopened in 2006. And get this, Williams' father-in-law, Harry Neal Sr., served in World War I and was in the original group back in the 1920s that petitioned McDowell County to let them build this memorial for African American veterans.
He talked about it a bit, but he didn't. He was a very quiet man. And he didn't brag about anything.
Williams remembers performing in plays in the building as a kid and says it meant a lot to see the building restored.
It's just history to me now because I'm 100 years old. So my days enjoying the building as such are over.
But he hopes current and future generations can enjoy the building for years to come.
I'm a people person, so I love it when people come in to visit this building and really see what's here and the significance of the building.
This building is precious to all of us. Now, at my age, it's deeply precious.
The museum is open Monday through Friday from 9 until 1 and by appointment. The building is also available to rent out for special events.